So tell me, as best friends making a movie, does that make the process easier, or was it a lot harder?
Oh my God. The thing about making movies is almost always like terrible. And so like, with best friends, it was just like hanging out. You know, it was kind of like being in high school, making a movie. No one really cares like your role. It's just a bunch of buddies. And we're just better at it now, so it's a better movie than in high school.
Not having a boss is like cooler than drugs.
We'll get to that.
It's coming down the
Depends on the drug.
Anybody want to add to that?
Yeah, better than drugs.
So this film was first a short, right? You guys did a short version of it?
Oh, that's so funny. Yes, like kind of. It was a totally different movie.
Yeah.
It's the same title. And the reason why this film is called A Great Lamp is because A Great Lamp is the best title we've ever come up with. And then,
Fish Sandwich was pretty good.
What's that?
Fish Sandwich.
That was
Fish
good.
Sandwich?
Oh,
we had another title,
don't
He,
eat fish.
She, It, Cowboy. And that was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
We didn't go with that. But
That
no,
is a really good title.
A Great Lamp was a short film that we did in college that we got in trouble for making, and it was great. We were like begging Max to come back to film school.
It started Donald, me, and Max.
It was me running away from film school and like crawling under buses. And just like, you have to come back to film school. I'm like,
Yeah,
no,
it
movies
was
aren't
like,
real.
It was like this. It was a film about how much we don't like film school.
Yeah.
And we showed it to our film school class, and they took it very personally. A lot of people in that room that did not like that movie are in this movie. So.
Yeah. but the best part about the title is it forced us to come up with a scene in the movie because we had to justify the title at some point.
Nice.
So that's what that is.
Yeah.
So having done the short then, do you feel like the feature was a lot easier to do, or it was a completely different process?
Well, there's two answers to that question. One is that the short is completely unrelated, but the other one is that like Max, Saad, and I have been making movies for a really long time.
Yeah.
So like and we've done tons of projects together, and so yes, I'd say that made it easier because we really know how to work with each other and
You gotta
we
understand.
love each other. It's really nice.
This was gonna go on, like we didn't spend any money. This was gonna go on YouTube. Like we do a lot of this. It's just like we usually just like don't like festivals, so we just throw it on YouTube.
Why Slamdance then? What made them so special that you guys decided to?
We did
I didn't
it.
find
Donald and I did a Donald did Donald and I did a short film that got into Slamdance. It's called Birds with Human Heads. And I couldn't go because I was in jail, and a friend of mine ended up coming and said it was like the coolest thing ever, and we heard all these stories, and I was like, oh well, that's one of the good ones. Okay.
Sound like fun.
Sound like fun.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna get real deep on you guys. Are you ready?
Oh shit.
We're always deep.
All right.
Should
So at the core, this movie feels like, and it sounds like, unfortunately I haven't seen it yet. I'm going to go see it tomorrow. But it sounds like it's about people finding themselves and finding their place in the world.
That's hard.
Would that be accurate? Would you say that's a pretty good assessment of what you guys were just trying to do, or was there some deeper meaning that you're trying to achieve?
If you haven't seen, I guess if you haven't seen it yet, I don't want to say too much, but like, I would say it's not really it's not a coming of age like finding yourself movie, because what we're trying to show people is that a lot of times the finding yourself idea that happens in life, and a lot of that comes from movies that kind of brainwash us into thinking about that, is that like you have these like defining moments that will happen that will change you and become this, and you'll be better and there'll be this thing, and those just don't happen. And so Great Lamp is about forgetting that, forget about changing yourself, whatever, that all happens like as you live life. It's more about what can you do in like the small every day-to-day moments of life to make life less like sad, which is like life is sad, you know what I mean?
Where are we?
And the answer to us is just hang out with your friends. And the reason that's in the movie is because that's why we were making it. We were all like miserable in our own way, and the best way to get away from that was to hang out, and the best way to hang out was to make a movie. So naturally that aspect came into the film. So less about finding yourself and more about just like being yourself, I guess.
Nice.
That's like my slogan on my bumper sticker.
That's pretty good.
Very cool. Now, being best of friends, I'm sure you guys know a lot about each other, but did you learn anything new about each other in making this movie?
So Saad really loves Glade air freshener.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. He would just we were
This was
all,
a new discovery.
yeah, we were all
discovery.
crashing on his floor, and every morning we would wake up and he would just like really groggy, like not a morning person, just like walk out and like look at us and like hold and just like spray us with Glade because like we smelled bad, and then he would just walk away actually he's doing that now. We're all crashing in a 1-bedroom motel in Salt Lake, and every morning and just like
The first thing we did off the airplane was stopping by some Glades.
yeah.
So that's
I guess no. Like we already kind of knew each other pretty
Yeah.
well, and that's kind of why this was so easy, was because we knew what each like when we wanted to put ourselves in it, we all knew how to elevate that part of each other because we all understood it. And there'd be times where the way I speak about my ideas is like I just like vomit a lot of words, which is why I'm terrible at these logline things everyone's asking me about. I have no ideas. But my friends are
Scratch
good.
that now.
Yeah, my friends are really good at interpreting like all the words I'm vomiting and figuring out what I'm trying to say, and so I guess I kind of learned more about what I'm trying to say because they said it better. But no, I guess we kind of just knew already. I mean, I'm not sure. Like
I got to know these two way better.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
we
Steven
cried.
especially.
Turns out you're awesome.
Who
you
would've
know.
thought?
Yeah, I don't. I like because there's a lot of like improv going on, so there's like playing going on, so that's bonding. I can't think of anything specific though, except the Glade thing.
You guys have anything that you figured out or learned?
What'd you learn about me?
Well, I had never met Saad before. We went to school together, and I was in the drama school, you in the filmmaking school, and we just never really crossed paths. I knew of you. I knew Max and Donald. But like I remember when we met the first day in your apartment, you were like, it feels like, we've known each other the whole time.
Yeah.
Which is definitely true, and I don't know, that felt good.
Nice. Very cool.
We fell in love very fast.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
It was
Which is good because
it was a quick love story.
yeah, which is good because he plays me in the movie.
Oh,
So like, it was very good.
Yeah.
Nice. What do you all love about being indie filmmakers?
Whoa, wow.
Oh.
Right.
I like making movies with my friends, so I don't think of this as an indie film.
This is a punk ass film.
Yeah, there's like this
Gorilla
thing.
as it gets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I agree with Dalla Monroe about indie films being like low character. It's just kind of like this thing of like, I don't know, like I've been trying to figure out what is it I hate about indie films, and it's just because they're just kind of lame, Like our film is more of like we're not trying to do anything more than what we're doing. In fact, we weren't even trying to make a movie. Like indie films are always, it feels like they want something, And we were doing what we wanted, which was just making the movie. It's more like a high school movie, which is like before indie films,
Yeah, dude, like it's not like we're only critical because we know how good movies should be, and like they keep disappointing us. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
if they were going to be bad and it looked like okay, there's nothing we can do, it's unfixable, I wouldn't bother. But like you can choose, you have a thing and you can capture any image in existence. And you can create some that don't exist, and you can create sounds that have never been heard before. And you're like filming like cubicles. Like, what are you doing? Like, you could film like. So it's like I don't know. It's always like blow my mind. I'll like watch a movie, and it's like anything in the whole world, and you pointed your camera at that stupid thing. Like, what in the fuck? So it's like it's frustrating only because we know how good they could be, and it's like every once in a while you'll like find it like at this festival like you'll find a thing like cat sticks, like we watched it and it was like you did it, like it was just like you could tell they were like they weren't just doing what they were told, and they weren't just like, well, this will, based on audience statistics, this will clearly, like they were like just doing, they like saw cool shit where they were living and they were like, why isn't anyone filming that? And so they did it.
Casting was awesome.
Yeah, cat sticks was awesome. And it's like you could just like do that. People like get all tense and weird about like what you're supposed to do and like, well, what works, like what is allowed, and it's like we invented movies 100 years ago. No one knows how to make them yet. Like just, you know what I mean? Just
yeah,
like
sure.
And like the thing about a lot of like indie filmmaking are made by people who like love movies, and like we don't. Like we like, movies are bad, And like like indie filmmakers, they love movies so much they want to make a movie, and you can tell like it's all about cinema and like this and that, and they want to win an Oscar.
It's supposed to look like another thing.
Yeah, like they have like their inspirations and stuff. Like my hope for this movie is that like some lonely kid watches this movie, and they go, wow, like that's like after watching Great Lamp, I will never watch a movie ever again because now I just want to go outside and play with my friends for my entire life. You know, like no more movies, and that'd be like the biggest success in my mind. I mean, but, we'll see how that plays out.
But don't get me wrong.
But if you got a script, like
yeah.
you
Oh,
know,
please.
like,
We'll work on anything.
I mean, we're good. Don't get me wrong, like, we're good at making movies.
I'm thinking buddy cop movie with maybe an orangutan.
we actually came up with a great buddy cop movie.
Yeah,
last night.
we have a great like eco-terrorist road movie that's kind of like buddy copy.
Nice.
It's called Take This Job and Shove It.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool. You know, I'm wondering if when you guys make another film, and I hope you do, I really do.
Oh, yeah, we
hope you make another film.
We're working
Can't stop us.
All right. Are you guys? Because the cliche thing to do in making another film where you're all in it again is to switch roles. Is that something that you guys have considered or thought about at all, or?
Really?
Seeing as I can't hold a camera,
And
I
I
just don't
can't act.
imagine.
You mean switch roles like the partner?
Yeah, you know, if you've ever seen like a Ed Burns movie or something where he has the same cast, but they one guy plays the asshole, one guy plays the
Oh,
nice
like
guy.
that. I thought
Yeah.
you meant like switch actual jobs. It's like I couldn't do anything else.
Yeah, I know.
No, I don't. I mean, I didn't mean you be the DP or
yeah, I was-
anything.
I was like,
I mean, we haven't thought about it, not because like I'm like against it. We haven't just like thought about it, but we know like we
I
kind
mean, the idea is, are you guys looking to challenge yourselves further? Are you guys looking to
Yeah.
expand? And
yeah,
figure
definitely.
this
We always
out?
want to make things that are new, you know,
Yeah.
and like new feelings. And our films, like I mean, our film, I guess, but our films are sort of like timestamps of where we are.
Yeah.
And like we're more than like where we were then. You know, there's a lot more going on, and so like our next movie is going to capture the other sides of us and where we've been since then. You know?
Nice.
I mean, when Donald and I shot Kill Your Landlord a month later, which I'm going to be editing for the rest of my life, it looks like, because it's really hard. We were like, okay, what if like we just wrote plans really well on paper so that we didn't have a director and I was just going to be the editor and you were just going to DP and we were just going to like the paper's the director and whatever the paper says. Well, like that was a whole new experiment in like making a movie where it's just like, well, the schedule it says we have to go get that image. So we were just like, you know what I mean? Like it was a whole different thing, but $450, 2 people, feature film, like similar kind of vibe, but like experimenting is going to happen. We get bored easily, like it's gonna.
Yeah, I mean, in fact, like what we really love is like the process of how we made a great lamp, and so that's what we're kind of expanding upon is like this idea of like not a full script, but like more of like a collection of like sparse words that we can use to fill in time as we go, with many people's minds, not one auteur theory director kind of thing. Like there's no boss, there's no employee like following the director's like vision or whatever.
Nice.
Just a bunch of buds. And so we had this new idea that's about like this guy who's on a suicide boat.
Yeah,
That
you were saying.
his like job is to like collect the dead bodies from like the river because it's like too dirty. Only problem is they have like a quota and there's other suicide boats in the town that are like competing, you know. And so that's kind of like our next idea we're trying to go with. But similar to this, it's just like, well, let's ask, what do you want to do and what do you want to do? And over time it'll become something so different than what we think it is now.
Sure.
We think it's a beautiful way to make movies because movies are so often like, these 3 important people are doing a thing and you're all just helping.
Yeah.
And also like, don't eat the food. You could go last in line, the actors first. This sucks. But like our things is just like we're all in it. There is no below the line, above the line thing. It's just like every idea is an idea. Everyone's having a good time. And at the end of it, you have a collection of human thoughts, not just one, which is way more beautiful